The Asus TUF Gaming A15 wants to be one of India's best affordable gaming laptops. It's also the first model we're reviewing with AMD's new 4000 series Ryzen mobile processors, which promise to go toe-to-toe with Intel's latest and greatest. Could this be a good choice for you if you're on a tight budget? Check out our full review. Of course, before we start, please do subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you know whenever we upload a new video. It's worth noting that the TUF Gaming A15 range starts at around 61,000 rupees, and this will appeal to those on a tight budget. At this price, you'll get a black plastic lid, a Ryzen 5 processor, a 60Hz screen, a 256GB SSD, and the GeForce GTX 1650 GPU. However, the configuration that I'm reviewing today is priced at around 95,000 rupees. This has a metallic grey lid, an AMD Ryzen 7 4800H processor, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 Ti GPU, a 144Hz Full HD Adaptive Sync display, 16GB of DDR4 RAM, a 512GB NVMe SSD, and a 1TB hard drive. Asus has said that this variant of the TUF Gaming A15, but not all, will have an empty M2 slot for an extra SSD. The RAM is also all-socketed. This means that there's a fair bit of flexibility when it comes to upgrading both the storage and the RAM. The only thing is there isn't a quick access hatch on the bottom to make upgrades very easy. Our review unit came with a surprisingly slim 180-watt charger. Charging through the USB Type-C port is not supported. Nearly all the ports are on the left. There's Gigabit Ethernet, HDMI 2.0B, two USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, one USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port, and a 3.5mm combo audio socket. The only things on the right are a single USB 2 port and a Kensington lock slot. There's no SD card slot, which is disappointing. Asus ships the TUF Gaming A15 with Windows 10 Home. I saw several huge annoying pop-ups for McAfee LiveSafe. The Asus Armoury Crate software is thankfully not at all intrusive. It lets you switch between performance, silent, and turbo modes to let you balance power consumption and fan noise with CPU and GPU performance. There's a lot to like about the TUF Gaming A15. For an entry-level laptop, it looks fairly slick and modern. The outer lid is metal while the rest of the laptop's body is plastic. When you flip the lid up, you'll see relatively slim borders around the screen, except for a little tab at the top to make room for a webcam. When the lid is down, you can see the laptop's status LEDs from the outside, which is a nice touch. The lid does wobble slightly and can be bent enough to walk the screen. On the lower deck, we have a large RGB backlit keyboard with a full-size number pad and transparent WASD keys. RGB lighting is in a single zone, and you can adjust effects using the Asus Armoury Crate software. Asus has also gone with individual physical trackpad buttons in response to user feedback. The trackpad itself isn't clickable but fully supports taps and Windows 10's multi-touch gestures. In terms of usability, both the keyboard and trackpad are comfortable, and I was able to work as well as play games without trouble. Weighing 2.3 kilos and just under 25mm thick, the TUF Gaming A15 is relatively compact for a gaming laptop. Although not ideal for a daily commute, you should be able to carry this laptop around everywhere without a lot of trouble. The TUF Gaming A15 is supposed to be resilient to drops, shakes, extreme temperatures, and high humidity. The plastic body doesn't look or feel all that reassuring, especially the hinges, but Asus does say that it has survived tests in such conditions at the design stage. Now let's talk about performance, which should be this laptop's biggest selling point. The Asus TUF Gaming A15 was snappy and responsive in everyday use, and that perception might have been helped by the screen, which runs at 144Hz even on battery power. The Full HD screen is non-reflective, which is something I always like. Viewing angles are fine, and it's bright enough for comfortable use indoors. Color reproduction is limited to 45% of the NTSC gamut, which is good for general use and gaming but might not be enough for pro-level photo and video work. By default, Asus sets this laptop to performance mode, and that's how I tested it. The Asus TUF Gaming A15 breezed through most of our benchmarks and real-world tests, and you can check out the results at gadgets360.com. I'm going to be focusing more on gaming performance in this video. I started gaming tests with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and this is where the 144Hz refresh rate really made itself evident. The built-in benchmark often stutters, but motion was perfectly smooth this time. I noticed slight texture pop in, but the average frame rate across scenes was 79 FPS with a minimum of 65 FPS. I also fired up GTA 5 and manually raised nearly all the quality settings and sliders to their highest values, with only the AF dialed down to 4x. I got an average of 119.86 FPS, which is great. I ran through the open world of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and saw an average of 52 FPS, which is quite good considering that I used the Ultra Graphics preset and high post-processing level. On the other hand, the much more forgiving Doom 2016 had no trouble staying above 80 FPS even at its ultra setting in the middle of intense firefights. The Tough Gaming A15 does make a fair bit of fan noise when it's stressed, and this might be distracting especially in the middle of a gaming session unless you're wearing a good headset. The middle and right side of the keyboard get quite hot, but the WASD key area and the left wrist rest aren't affected, so this should be okay for most games. I felt hot air blowing out the right side, which might affect where you can comfortably use a mouse with your right hand. The AMD Ryzen 7 4800H CPU worked well in my experience, and I can't find any fault with it relative to any Intel processor that you'd get in an equivalently priced laptop. I like the generous SSD, though it isn't the fastest, and the potential to upgrade is always a plus. There are no design flaws that impact usability, and you can enjoy games as well as get your work done. I think most people will come to this series looking for the most affordable gaming laptop they can find, and if you choose the base variant, which starts at 61,000 rupees, you should still have a decent enough gaming experience. However, the price rises quite drastically if you want to go in for the higher end CPU and GPU, and of course I'd like as large an SSD as possible and the 144Hz refresh rate screen. If you're willing to spend up to 1 lakh rupees, you might also want to consider the other models in ASUS's ROG range, which might offer better features, build quality and style, although at the cost of some of these specifications. That's it for our review of the ASUS Tough Gaming A15. Thanks for watching, and as always, for all things tech, do stay tuned to Gadgets 360.